Greetings Autobots, and welcome back to Autobot ASMR. Tonight, I must confess, I had a bit of trouble filming what I initially intended to film tonight, and it was a big Optimus Prime video, but the recording it wasn't quite up to my standard. It wasn't up to snuff, as it were. So I said, you know what, even though we missed out on that doesn't mean that I can't make something else. So I decided, let's just go back a bit, let's dial back the scale a bit and go for a more casual, more small review. So tonight I'm going to be taking a look at the newly released Transformers Studio Series Core Class Dark of the Moon Bumblebee. So without any further ado, let's get stuck in. So as you can see, Bumblebee here is a 2011 Chevy Camaro, which this is based off, as you can imagine, his Dark of the Moon appearance. Apologies if the lighting is a little bit harsh. I'm recording this somewhat late at night, and I've got this new setup on my desk. But you can come around here, you can see he's got his windshield just painted in pure black. Some nice grille detail. You've got the Chevy logo right there. I'll just pop it up in there against the light. Yeah, you can see it right there. Nice little golden Chevy logo. It sticks out amongst the flat yellow plastic, but the red paint, what am I talking about? It's like the old recording curse. You can say it, no problem, but as soon as you're on video, you start mucking things up. Nevertheless, the show must go on. So come around to the back here, the back windshield. I don't know what that's called, but the back section is, I think it's painted, but it could just be black plastic, but it probably is painted. Wheels are pinned on, so no paint on the wheels, just flat black plastic. So in regards to the car mode, I mean, it's a core class, so take a shot of how many times I say it's just a core class. That's going to be like a thing. At some point it's going to be like, oh yeah, but it's a core class though. Well, what can you do? I mean, for 15 quid you really can't do much worse. Like, it's simple, but the articulation's decent. The vehicle mode looks really good, and if you ask me, the robot looks pretty cool. So, well, I'll actually explain a little something I did. I had to do some homemade DIY to this figure to make it more, to make the transformation a bit less arduous. Like, it's not hard, don't get me wrong, it's not tricky, but it's just a little bit fidgety at one point, and I decided, you know what, I'll just take it into my own hands and I'll fix it. So, I forgot to talk about Bumblebee's accessory. He only comes with one. He comes with his blaster cannon, like you see in the movie, cast entirely in silver painted plastic, or it's yellow, but it's been painted a lovely shade of silver. You can see there it's got some really good detailing on it, like the little scoop section, the main blaster port. You've got a little peg there for vehicle mode. You actually have a couple pegs there, so you can store it on the front, side, or back. But then you've got the peg for the robot mode. So that's pretty much it for the accessories. So I'm going to just say right away, you'll see in there there's tabs, or there's little slot areas there, but I've actually, just come to the door and open that, I've actually broken them off because the original version of this mold, the Dark of the Moon pink Bumblebee, the laser beak, actually had just a flat door with a little bit over there. There was no extra tabs, but for me, those tabs just weren't off. Like, they were just blocking the door. I couldn't close it over. I had to like bend and flex it. So I said, you know what, balls to it, I'll just shave off the tabs and leave it like that, and what do you know, tabs in like a charm, because there's a little bit in there and there's another notch there that holds it steady. So there's a little DIY tip from your old pal Robot. So just come around to the doors and open them up just like that. And what we're going to want to do is come around to the arms, or the bottom of the car, flip up the arms and rotate them. You'll see they're on a little swivel, or not swivel, but a little roller here. The wheels will just flip inward, and next you're going to want to come to the back of the car and just split it. And then this bit can be a little bit tricky, so I'll do my best to explain it in a way that's a bit more concise. So what you're going to want to do is just take the head, robot mode head, and flip it up as far as it'll go. and just make sure that there's enough clearance for the wheels to clear this chest assembly. And just, you may need to flex a little bit, but you don't need to like bend the plastic. You just need to open up the chest a little bit to get some more wiggle room. Just angle the doors back, come around to the legs, take the feet, fold them down just like so. You can angle them forward however you like. I like to have them slightly bent so he just looks like he's striking a pose. Take the arms, bend them down and straighten out the forearm. And bang, there you have Bumblebee in his robot mode. And I have to say, despite being only 15 quid and a core class, I think this is a pretty solid representation of the character. Sure, the chest isn't nearly as accurate as, say, the deluxe class version, but as a budget option and just as a fun little desk bot, or even just a gift for your kids, like, I don't think you can go wrong with this core class. It's solid, it poses well. You know, it's a little, like, if I had one complaint, I'd say it's these arm bits. They do tend to pop off, but it's an easy enough fix. Plus, I'm pretty sure you could use a bit of tissue paper to, like, stiffen up the joints to make them, I don't know, less loose. But they're not flopping. You know what, I'll give them, they're not flopping. So, let's talk posability first, because this Bumblebee is actually rocking some decent enough posability. You can do a full rotation at the arm, over about 90, or just over 90 at the elbow. Head is on a ball joint, so you can completely rotate it around. You can have it look up that far and down that far, though that's mostly for transformation, so make of it you will, but I think it's pretty neat either way. We come around to the side here, and I gotta say, I love how they did the like knee detail. I just wish there was a bit more paint, but then again, 15 quid, you know, I'm gonna sing the same old dong and dance song and dance about, oh, it's a core class, but you know, I wouldn't mind the extra paint. Like if they just added extra paint to these things, because as they stand, I think these figures are pretty cool, but I wouldn't mind just a little bit of extra paint. But foot wise, the toe can bend up, but that's more so for transformation. Knee can, or leg can move up that far, and a pretty decent bend at the knee. So posability wise, it's pretty good. You know, it's a little bit limited, but with the size class, you know, I can't really expect masterpiece level posing. But let's just get him all posed up with his accessory. There's a particular pose I like to do. He's got this blaster pointed out. It's, oh, remember that scene from Dark of the Moon where he just absolutely murders Soundwave, shoots him in the leg and trips him up, and then shoves his blaster cannon right in his chest, and Soundwave's just like, no! And Bumblebee was, pew, blows his head clean off. Oh, what a movie. I'm telling you, that Dark of the Moon, I'm going to get around to that, and I'll mention that one of my lovely viewers actually suggested I do a discussion on the Transformers live action movies, so don't you worry, I haven't forgotten about that, and I'm pretty much just banging away on formulating my thoughts, because I know in my head what I want to say, but I want to make sure it's absolutely concise, you know, straight to the point, with a little bit of my story sprinkled in here and there, but, you know, I want to make this something special, because, you know, I'm a Transformers guy first and foremost, but I do enjoy making other kinds of content, and it'll be fun, especially with these. I'm not sure if you could hear that. It sounded like some person driving their car. It was like a really throaty engine. Kind of creepy, actually. But in regards to this Bumblebee, I think the robot mode's pretty superb for what it is. Like, if you want just a little Bumblebee to put on your desk, let me just pose him up there. I think it's a pretty solid figure just in general. Like, it goes well on your desk. Look at him. He's a little tiny Bumblebee. I should probably do a video where I just say Transformers names over and over for triggers. It would probably be very good. But without any further ado, let's do the reverse transformation. So, Bumblebee, I'm going to have to relinquish you of your weapon. Autobots, relieve them of their weapons. Anyone else remember that scene in the first movie whenever all the Autobots save Sam and Michaela from Sector 7? And Optimus leans in like, "You don't seem afraid. Are you not surprised to see us?" And Simmons is just like, "Oh, you know, their protocols, you know, S7 protocol, you know, I'm not allowed to communicate with you unless I'm telling you I'm not allowed to communicate with you. And Optimus just looks at him like, get out of the car. I don't know if that scene was intended to be funny, but Optimus just shouting like, no, whenever he was slow getting out the car. It just cracks me up. Like, there's some parts of that movie, people say, oh, those movies aren't really funny, but there are some moments where they're genuinely funny. So, same process as before. We'll just lower down the arms. And make sure we just rotate the forearms so it's this little section's facing up. I probably should have specified that, but hey. Make sure the little ports on the hands are facing so you can just plug them together. And let's give him his gun. And there you go. There you have Bumblebee back in his hiccups, back in his vehicle mode. So again, I apologize if you guys were looking forward to a bigger figure tonight, but I figured, I swear that pun was not intentional. But I swear, I'll promise I'll get a new Optimus figure filmed soon and the Transformers movie discussion video. I'm going to get that filmed as soon as I can, but right now I'm actually working on a little project with a good friend of mine, Alakazam ASMR. We've been pretty much banging away with all different kinds of ideas for roleplays and collaborations, so expect more content featuring him in the future. He's an amazing guy who's had my back ever since the start of this channel, and I owe a lot of my success to him. Not only that, but he's arguably been my favourite ASMR artist, and he's become quite a close friend of mine. So, Alakazam, well, I was saying, if you're watching this bit, you watch every single one of my videos, so Alakazam, hats off to you, and I can't wait to collaborate again in the future. So, with all being said and done, this was the Transformers Dark of the Moon Core Class, or should I say Studio Series Dark of the Moon? Dark of the Moon, 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 Dark of the Moon. That's a really fun, man, that's a really fun name to say, like Transformers Dark of the Moon. Like, I'm getting carried away. Have you learned to do a proper intro, for goodness sake? But with all that being said and done, this was the Transformers Studio Series Core Class Dark of the Moon Bumblebee. Autobots, transform and roll out to bed. Till all are one. Good night.